Tasmania is famous for producing some of the best cool climate food and drink in the world. And here, above Hobart on top of Mount Wellington, is a pretty cool place to start. Fasten your seatbelts, because over the next 30 minutes, we're going to cram in as much of that great food and drink as we possibly can. And remember, food and drink in the right combination at the right time can sometimes be better than sex.
Lobster is a little bit expensive. It's something we have for a bit of a treat or a special occasion. Yes. But a lot of people think they can only eat the tail. There isn't a lot of waste, so it is quite good value.
If you want to feed your family or a group of friends and you want to do a banquet style thing, you have a bigger lobster because there's more meat in the legs, and where the legs attach to the body on the knuckles is some of the best meat in the lobster, and the leg meat is regarded as the best. So there's no wastage there, and look, lobsters make beautiful fish stock.
Lobster in general is special, but the Tasmanian rock lobster, is that a little bit more special?
Well, I could be biased and say it's the best in the world, but you know, southern rock lobster is regarded as the best in the world, there's no doubt about that.
For some of us, it's got to be about more than that. It's got to be sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a very good point, because without sustainability, we don't have a fishery, and the general public doesn't get to eat a lobster.
Now, the oak trees are a vital part of growing truffles, which is your business.
Yeah, they say that they can grow them equally as well on hazelnuts. But we've chosen oaks, and they've been growing very well since, and they produce extremely well for a small truffery.
And now, under these various rows of trees, there are truffles.
Absolutely, my word. And it was interesting to watch the development of how some trees produced before others, but as the seasons have progressed, really every tree has yielded. It's a very, very subtle flavour. It's not an overpowering thing, so you've got to really use it in your cooking with subtle, soft, fragrant foods.
What would you produce here then, in kilos, tonnage?
I've never told anybody ever.
Really? Is it that secretive?
That's secretive.
Really?
It's like the mafia.
Here we are today at one of Tasmania's most iconic locations, Roaring Beach on the Tasmanian Peninsula. This episode we're going to be using some Tasmanian produce from Tasmanian heritage cheeses, R. Stevens honey, Cradle Coast olives, Chartley Estate, their new sparkling rosé. We've got some fresh crayfish here and some Tamar Valley truffles. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is put a nice knob of butter into our hot pan. Then we're going to get our crayfish tail, which I've prepared. Just slice that in half, flesh side down into the pan. We want to let that cook for around 5 to 10 minutes. Now we need to take the crayfish out of the pan, set them aside. Now we're going to put another pan on and melt some more butter. This is for the truffles. Whilst that butter's melting, I'm going to remove the crayfish from the shell. Then I'm going to dice the crayfish up, and we're going to place that onto the plate with some sprouts, just for a nice bit of colour. Now we need to slice some truffles. Then we're going to place that into our hot butter. Crack of salt, not too much. Swirl that around, and now that's ready to pour over the top of the crayfish. Now there you go, you have Tasmanian crayfish with Tamar Valley black truffle butter. Wash that down with a glass of Chartley Estate sparkling rosé. Perfect example of Tasmania's amazing produce.
Now, this is a bit special, Lorraine, this wine.
This wine is a vintage sparkling.
Oh, okay. It's a sparkling rosé from your own Chartley Estate, which is where we are now.
Yes, it's sparkling rosé. It's a mixture of Pinot Noir grapes and Chardonnay grapes. And they're grapes that I picked in 2009.
Cheers, let's try it. Lorraine, what sort of food would you put this with?
Oh, I like it with seafood, oysters, cheese. I just like it. I have it with no food sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just nice to drink. How long have you had the Wagyu Bakehouse, Craig?
We've about just a bit over 2 years now. Yeah, just had an idea. Obviously, we started our own herd of Wagyu cattle, and we had an idea one day over a few red rinds, as you do. No one sort of made a the Wagyu pie, so we made a few and had them tested by a few people. Anyway, ended up buying a little bakery, and that's how it sort of started.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
Now, well, to be honest, I didn't know what Wagyu were, but they're Japanese breed of cattle.
Yeah, very, very popular in Australia at the moment, and you know, I think they're a beef that's becoming more and more popular because of their flavour, obviously.
Well, let's go inside one. Okay, we're looking at them now. Tell me about the marbling.
That's what gives the beef its flavour.
Okay.
When you cook it, that dissipates through the meat, and that's what gives it its flavour. Yeah.
Now, what about your pies then? Are you using the Wagyu beef in your pies?
Yeah, we use, usually off these animals, we take the 4 best cuts, which is obviously Scotch, the eye, Porterhouse and the rump. We just mince it all up and dice it up, and it goes in the pies.
Yeah, and you like the pies yourself?
I love the pies, as you can probably tell. But our brand, we focus on obviously all Tasmanian lamb, and our Tasmanian lamb is an MSA graded lamb, which guarantees tenderness and flavour and different things. And we're supplying that to clubs and pubs and restaurants in Queensland, and it gives us a bit of a difference over the other competitors. Right. There's plenty of Victorian lambs and plenty of Queensland lambs that come up into our market, and they're just not as good.
You use the term "it eats well." What does that mean?
It's just, I guess, it's a consistency. It's the texture of the meat. It's the consistency and flavour and tenderness.
What's the reaction then in Queensland?
It's the guys that support it very, very well, and won't change back. And it becomes a product that's saleable, and it gives them a uniqueness in their own shop.
You do feel then that the quality of the lamb, as you say, you are what you eat, it's climatic based.
Yeah, oh, without a doubt. Everything's better. It's that clean green image of Tasmania, and I think the lambs just do better down here. Part of what we like about the Tasmanian Royal is we buy it down here, we process it down here, and then that sort of keeps that Tasmanian heritage. We don't lose that as we cross the border, and it keeps us sort of honest and true to the brand.
Rob, we're in the home of island curries. Now, I really like that story of how island curries began.
It began from a hobby of cooking curries of an afternoon, learning how the different spices work with different ingredients, and then making up a paste to give to my friends to try, to see what they thought of the recipes. And if I went to the mainland, I would take a jar of paste and cook a curry while I was away.
So you're the right man to ask. What do you think makes a really good curry?
Good fresh ingredients that go into the curry paste, like freshly ground spices and herbs. There's no preservatives, no MSG, no flavouring additives at all. Just the natural ingredients.
So if you're feeling a little bit lazy, are you the right man to come to?
Yes, definitely. That's the whole idea behind the product.
I might give it a try.
Today we're here at Bell's Parade on the river's edge at Latrobe. It's a magic spot here which is well renowned for its platypus. So today we're going to be cooking a platypus curry. Not really. We're going to be cooking a lamb curry using Tasmanian royal lamb. And I'm going to be cooking this with the island curry. Amazing curry paste, simple to use, anyone can cook the best curry at home. I've got one lamb backstrap here. I'm just going to cut that in half lengthways and then dice it up. There, so now we've finished dicing up the lamb, we're going to add the curry paste to the pan. Now we're going to add the lamb to the dish. Got here some Frank cider. It's not too sweet, this cider, but it'll be a perfect accompaniment for the curry. We better give it a try. Yep, the summer pear cider I think will match perfectly. They also do a great summer apple cider. So our curry's just about ready now. So I'm going to take that off the heat and I'm going to put on a pan with a bit of roti bread. I don't know if you prefer papadams. Now our lamb's set aside. I'm just going to stir some yogurt through that. You don't want to cook this yogurt, you just want to sit it in there, just warm it up. And then I'm also going to add around half a bunch of coriander. So just a very rough chop. And there you have it, Tasmanian island curries. Washed down with a glass of Frank's pear cider.
What led you into making cider?
Well, our family have been growing fruit here in the Huon Valley since the 1830s. Frank, my grandfather, was the third generation.
So this is Frank cider?
This is Frank cider from the The apple is from the tree, from trees that Frank actually planted.
Now, I've caught you here on a winter's day. We've got no blossom or apples, but
No, they've all been picked and crushed and put into cider.
I can't see the blossom, but I feel like I can taste the apples and pears in the glass.
The good thing about living in a cool climate is that the fruit takes a long time to mature and develop, so the flavours are so intense because of that length of time that it takes to ripen.
The only thing about this is it's a little bit deceptive because it tastes like a fruit drink. You sort of could easily forget that it's alcoholic, I think.
It is a comment that's been made before.
This is Burnie on Tasmania's northwest coast. And years ago, Burnie was an industrial heartland, and the product they were producing here was newsprint, paper. Now that's all gone. But funnily enough, that industry and all that activity is still here, but it's the product that has radically changed. Just take us through then the cheeses you're producing here in Burnie.
All right, we make the camembert, the brie on some washed rind. We make blue cheese. In here we make St. Clair, Gouda, Edam. We make the Heidi products, which are the raclette, tilsit and gruyères. And I think it's one of the most unique factories in the world to make so many products.
What are these people doing here with these cheeses, these big round cheeses?
Like for the first 3 weeks when the cheese comes into here, they get washed every day and then put back on the shelves.
Does it still come down then to the quality of the milk? What goes in is very much reflects what comes out?
Yes, it's so critical that we get a good grass-fed milk on the good quality, healthy cows. And we seem to be very lucky here on the northwest coast to get that because the climate is just right to produce this beautiful milk.
You've won Best Camembert in the world here in Burnie.
Here in Burnie it's very delicate. It's a very clean, beautiful flavoured cheese. And Burnie was lucky enough to win it twice. And it just shows how good this part of the world is to create some beautiful cheese here.
We're in Mole Creek. How long have you been here producing honey?
The business started in 1919 when the original owner came home from the First World War. He'd left 2 hives behind in Mole Creek and they formed the foundation.
Right.
He then set about to breed the queens that he'd been looking at while he'd been overseas in France and England, and decided which bee would be best suited for Tasmanian conditions, and he set about to breed those queens. We still use his breeding line.
Over 95 years, R. Stevens Honey has grown to become Tasmania's leading honey producer. With 2,500 working hives, they produce their Golden Bee brands and the iconic Golden Nectar organic leatherwood honey. All bottled, packaged and boxed at their factory in the tiny town of Mole Creek in Tasmania's central north. This multi-award-winning honey is then shipped throughout Australia and the rest of the world. It certainly adds weight to the saying, from little things, big things grow.
Here we are today at Saltwater River. It's one of the lesser known convict settlements on the peninsula. It's just around the corner from the Port Arthur Historic Site. The convicts that were sent here were the bad convicts, so they were sent to mine coal, and that's all. And I don't think they would have been eating any of this amazing food that we've got here today. So we've got some Tasmanian Heritage True Blue, some R. Stevens honey and some nice fresh walnuts. Today's dish is quite simple, so let's get started. I'm going to cut a nice slice out of here. I'm going to cut that into small pieces because you don't want it to overpower the walnut. And then we need to coat the walnuts with this honey. It's an R. Stevens Tasmanian Leatherwood honey. So we'll squirt that over the walnuts. Then we want to place a walnut on top of the pieces of cheese. So grab a walnut out of the honey. A lot of people might not like blue cheese. I recommend you try it like this and you might change your mind. A little bit better than the bread and water that I think the residents from here would be used to.
Whereabouts are we?
So we're in the northern part of the Tamar Valley, in the West Tamar. We're out on a peninsula, so we're surrounded by water on 3 sides, so we're quite a warm vineyard site for Tasmania.
How does that affect then what you're growing?
So it means that we can actually grow quite a wide variety of wines. We ripen Cabernet here quite quite well. We also obviously have Pinot, which Tassie is very well known for, and a really big variety of white wines as well.
And what sort of food would these particular varieties go with?
Well, obviously everybody loves cheese and wine, so the King Island cloth wrap cheddar with the Cabernet is fantastic, or one of the white mould cheeses with Pinot is really good as well. So, you know, cheese and wine's a pretty classic example of you know, the good match.
Now, considering the name of the program, Rebecca, do you find wine has aphrodisiac qualities?
Well, it's always lovely to sit down and have a romantic dinner with your partner and have some nice wine together, so perhaps it does.
Gwyneth, we're at Bakery 31 in front of your lovely roaring log fire. Now, this isn't an ordinary bakery, you've got a special product.
We've got the Tasmanian scallop pie that we're quite well known for.
Now, I've got to check this, Gwyneth. Tasmanian scallop pie, does it actually have the Tasmanian scallops?
Absolutely, only Tasmanian scallops in our pies.
Is it a special recipe?
Yes, it is. Please don't ask me what it is because I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No, our baker developed it about 17 years ago and it's a close held secret.
Now, there isn't just the scallop pie, there is also...
No, we also have, well, we have a whole range of fabulous pies, but we do a salmon and brie, which is Tasmanian salmon and Tasmanian brie cheese.
As it should be.
Absolutely, and beautiful products.
Yeah, beautiful island products. So, if people come here to Ross, they can come in and have a pie, but if they can't make it to Tassie, they can get your pies?
Yes, we have outlets in Brisbane and Melbourne, and they can order them through our website. We send them all over Australia.
So if they come to the bakery and they need a fix afterwards, they get addicted to our beautiful Tassie pies?
Yep, they can go online or they can phone me.
What are you getting there? What can you smell?
Oh, the first thing that hits the nose is the vanilla notes that come through, and that's that's the bourbon and the American whiskey that was held in the casks prior to us using them.
At Hellier's then, how many whiskies are you producing now?
Yeah, we have a family of around 5 single malts, ranging from our original and our age statements through to wine finishes and a peated version.
Now, people can come to Hellier's and they can do a tour, is that right?
We've got a beautiful upmarket cafe and a visitor interpretation centre where people can take a guided tour.
One of the most important ingredients, Mark, must be what's behind us here.
We're very fortunate here in the northwest coast of Tassie because the waters are delivered on the wings of the roaring 40s, and it's just so pure and clean to work with, and sensational for making a good quality single malt whiskey.
Tony, you're in a beautiful location here. We're about 30 minutes from Burnie.
Yeah, about 30 minutes from Burnie, 5 minutes in behind Alverson, basically, yeah.
Cradle Coast Olives is the business. Now, you're niche marketing and producing this olive oil.
That's right, yes. Unashamedly producing a boutique product. Yep. And it took a few mad people such as ourselves to just go ahead and give them a go, despite the fact that we were told they probably wouldn't grow here.
When you're growing a niche market product, as you described it, you've then got to be producing something of pretty good quality.
Yes, unfortunately we naively wanted to grow the best oil in Australia, and blow me down, 2 years now we've actually taken out the prize for the best oil in Australia at the national awards. And it's so good for you that if they haven't got a taste for it, they need to develop a taste for it.
So the proof's in the pudding, this is it then?
This is it.
Okay. Do you find this is the best way to eat olives? Olive oil?
Only way to eat olive oil.
Yeah.
Make sure you get plenty on your bread.
Here we are today at Devonport at the mouth of the Mersey River. You can see the city in the background. It's a beautiful spot here. Today I'm going to be cooking some lamb cutlets with the 10-year-old Hellier whiskey cream sauce. First thing I need to do is get this Tasmanian royal lamb, and then we'll slice that into cutlets. So we're just going to quickly season them and put them into the pan. Some of this Cradle Coast olive oil. It's nice and fruity. Then we're going to place the lamb into the pan. Whilst that's cooking, we're going to get onto the sauce. So the first thing we need to do there is slice up some shallots, these nice golden shallots. Place them into our pot over here. So now our lamb, I'll flip that over. That's cooked nice and medium rare. So I'm going to remove that off the heat just to rest for a minute. Now the shallots are just starting to brown. I'm going to deglaze the pan with this Hellier's Road Distillery 10-year-old whiskey. Put about 30 mils, 60 mils, maybe 100. Now I'm going to put a little bit of honey. This is R. Stevens honey, so obviously you don't want your pan too hot at this point. Only a tiny bit, about half a teaspoon, just to take the edge off the whiskey. Just before that liquid's gone, I'm going to add some cream. Should take around 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, we can see now the cream's nice and reduced. It's perfect consistency. I'm just going to add a small amount of finely chopped thyme. So now we're going to put the cutlets onto a plate and spoon a small amount of this cream sauce over the top. And there you have it, Tasmanian Royal Lamb Cutlets with the Hellier's Road 10-year-old whiskey sauce. Spot on.
Take us through the what you're doing.
Our three key brands that we produce are the Kreglinger, which is predominantly a sparkling production, and within that there's three wines. One is our vintage brut, and then we have 100% Chardonnay known as our Brut de Blanc, and also 100% Pinot known as our Brut Rosé.
Okay.
Within our Piper's Brook Vineyard label, we have a Piper's Brook Riesling, there's a Gewürztraminer, there's a Pinot Gris, a Chardonnay and a Pinot Noir style. You take the best grapes possible and you add value to that, and you take it through the next process of making great wines. One of the key factors that is making Tasmania so focused on sparkling production is because of that natural capable balance that's being achieved. And this is the advantage of the cool climate.
Okay.
All of our productions, it's 100% Tasmanian produced from basically grape to glass.
Okay.
Here we are today at the Pirates Bay Lookout overlooking Eagle Hawk Neck. You can see Cape Hoy in the background. It's a perfect spot to cook some of these amazing ingredients. Today we've got some Wagyu beef from the Wagyu Pie Company and Bakehouse in Devonport. Also going to be using some Tasmanian Heritage Red Square cheese. We've also got the Cradled Coast olive oil, and we're going to be doing this all with a glass of Piper's Brook Pinot Noir. The first thing we need to do today is get this Wagyu and slice it very thin, about 2 mil thick. As you can see here, I've got the salt rock, we've got that up to temperature. Place the beef onto the rock. This is going to help the fat in the beef melt. Now I've got some Tasmanian fermented black garlic here. I'm just going to spread that on top of the beef. And then a super thin slice of red square cheese. Now you can see the colour of the meat starting to change around the outsides. This means we're just about ready. The fat will go transparent. That's when you know it's good. Now I'm going to get a small piece of lavash biscuit and just place that on top just to give the mouthful a bit of texture. And there we have a pretty amazing mouthful of food. That's pretty good.
Aussie holiday. Aussie holiday.
Want to be part of the show? Follow us on Twitter, find us on Facebook, or just email airtracks@bigpond.com.